Which I know, it's nice to see John down here tonight. By the way, nice to see you, brother.
This guy. What's going on with you?
Nice to see you, by the way, John.
All right, mate.
Bring it over, brother. Nice to see you.
Hello, right, here we go. So, thank you so much for coming down tonight, everybody. We really do appreciate it. Before we get our esteemed guest on this evening, which is, who's it again?
Thomas Turgoose. What's going on? Shut up.
Hello. That was unbelievable timing, that, by the way. That's what you call comic timing.
I have to be training.
Our esteemed guest this evening, Mr. Thomas Turgoose. Oh my God! Right, I think you might have to work with us tonight, folks, okay, if that's okay. Now, listen, before we introduce Tomo, somebody that I'm very proud to call my friend. Hailing from this very town, Thomas Turgoose is an actor whose journey is from a humble beginning and critical acclaim is nothing short of astounding. Thomas, of course, burst onto the scene with his unforgettable debut in Shane Meadows' critically acclaimed This Is England 2. Turn the treble down, man. Just turn the treble down, son. And then just turn up the bass, we'll be alright. Thomas, of course, burst onto the scene with his unforgettable debut in Shane Meadows' critically acclaimed
This Is England film. For fuck's sake.
Welcome to Grimsby.
critically acclaimed film, This Is England! Fucking hell, I'm determined. I am determined. His raw and powerful portrayal of this troubled yet endearing young Shaun earned him widespread recognition and several awards, firmly establishing him as one of Britain's most promising actors of his youngest age. This role was just not a debut, but it conveyed vulnerability and authenticity in a way that resonated with millions. Since his iconic debut, Thomas has continued to captivate and move audiences with his dynamic performances across film and television. Is that about right so far? Mr. Thomas Turgoose, how are you?
Yeah, we got there in the end. First of all, I just want to clear up what a four ball is, for anybody who doesn't know. A four ball is four people playing golf. It's not what you might think, said Raffle.
Hang on a second, that wasn't what you fucking told me, so.
Yeah, Shaun, stand down, it doesn't matter. And secondly, I want to apologise for hosting a Q&A in what seems like a sauna. It's around the world. But yeah.
I'm just pleased I can hear you, mate. We just got through that, didn't we? I mean, can you imagine that? I was dying, literally dying. But I'll tell you what, if there's one person that I want to die for on the stage, in front of the crowd, it's this man.
Shearer.
Yeah. Well, I can only apologise. So, what I thought we'd do, and I was going to leave these, but seeing as though we've had an absolute hellish start, shall we have a bit of an icebreaker now? Shall we dish the dirt on Tomo before we get into it?
This isn't a stag, it's not a wedding.
No, it is.
It's not a best man.
No, it is. It is.
Right, okay.
You fancy dishing a bit of dirt on Tomo before we start getting into it? Yeah. Right, okay. Now this comes from, where's Reese? Where Reese? Right, it's a good job you're in the back row, mate. He's not going to be too happy with you. So I'm going to do a quick fire. Is it true or is it false, Fran? And hopefully Tomo will be able to bring it into the context for me. Tomo, before we get into the meat, and there's a lot of meat. Is it true? No, not like that. Is it true that you once got that drunk before your holiday that you pissed all over yours and Charlotte's suitcase, thinking that it was a toilet? Come on, Tomo, let's get straight into it.
Do you want one-word answers or can I explain myself?
You can give me a one-word answer and then I want you to explain.
Right, firstly, who you've been talking to, because I don't think Reese would ever know that, so that's come from Charlotte. Definitely.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's a plausible reason, I think. Cluggy, wherever Cluggy is, I can see him over there. He was partly responsible as well, and Joe. Basically, he was going on a lads' holiday to Malia, I think, and we were supposed to go for 7 days, but one of our friends passed away, and it was his funeral. The day that they was all flying.
I feel really bad now.
Yeah, so you should. It's coming. So I cut my holiday short, and I was like, I'll meet you lads out there because I can't miss this funeral. So it was Uncle Baz, and anyone in the room knows Uncle Barry Muscle was like the life of any party. So we sent him off with a very good party. And yeah, one thing led to another, and plenty of parling. And yeah, I just got confused. The suitcase looked like a toilet, and off I went.
So we've got to confirm that Tomo did indeed piss all over the suitcase. Fantastic.
Yeah, but luckily the towel, Charlotte, bless her, had packed the whole thing for me, and the towel was laid on the top, and the towel took the brunt of it because she woke up shouting at me.
I tell you what, Charlotte, where's the beautiful Charlotte?
Down here.
My God, darling, you have to put info on this, by the way. Is it true that you once used to drive an invertible car? And did you, by the way, I'm not finished yet, Tomo. Whilst driving the convertible car, did you reverse it into a bollard against Notts County Way without a licence?
So, yeah, I did. Yes, I did. But
the police.
No. So I didn't have a license, but I was insured as a learner, and it was a convertible KA. Because I just went through a weird phase of my life. I thought, well, what a convertible when I could only afford a Ford KA. So I said to my dad, let's go Notts County Way. And he was like, all right. And I said, I'll drive. He was like, holy fuck. So I said, let's do it. So I was insured and whatnot. And yeah, I was trying to get out of the car back and just reverse straight to the wall. Yeah, nothing to prove. I still can't drive.
There we go. So that's 2 out of 3. Well, we will get at the deep stuff straight after this. Now this one, Tomo, if this is true, this one makes me feel a little bit weird. And I love this time of year. Generally, I love this time of year. But is it true that you still have your Christmas lights up? Oh,
yeah, I don't eat. My best mate was the best man at my wedding, sat in the front of you. Why are you laughing? You were supposed to come and take them down.
Oh, so it's his fault?
Well, you know I'm not a man. I can't do things like that. So you're the man in mine and Charlotte's marriage. So yeah, it's your fault. You should be there doing it. But yeah, but it's got to that point now where I'm thinking there's no point in taking them down. So I'll put them back up soon. So yeah, they're up for good. I'll never bring it down. Oh my God. So whoever buys my house next gets some free Christmas lights, I suppose.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We've had just the first ever quick fire shame roasting of Thomas Turgoose at Blundell Park. Give it up for Tomo. Let's go. Christmas lights.
And then we finally settled there, and then yeah, I think I was about 11 when we moved in there. And yeah, and then that's when Kayla and Becky and John sort of just asked me to go to the Space Project, and I was a bit like, well, I don't really know what it is, I don't know anyone there, I'm not really, the idea wasn't really that appealing. And then I think the man said something like, oh, well, you know, there's so much going on there, and then I ended up going, and the first day I'll never forget was when I met Kai Tomlinson for the first time. And then within about 30 seconds he was chasing me around the pool table. Because he was like a lot taller than me, and I was only this small kid. But I was a young kid that was never scared of anyone. I was always sort of held my own, giving him some shit. And then he stood up and I was like, oh fucking hell, he's bigger than me. And then quickly we got took to a corner, we got chatting to each other, and then, still to this day me and Kai are really good mates. And then there was people like Josh Musson, Kai, there was Barbara, there was all the kids that that just quickly become like a second family to me. And then not only the kids, but like people like say all the people that worked there were Dave, Kayla, Jackie, everybody, John, everybody that was there. There was just like this extended family that was just like,
So this blows my mind. So in 2006, I think that's when This Is England came out. And by the way, this was like an international hit. But for me, being up at Newcastle, it blew everybody away. It was unbelievable. It resonated so deeply. But before we go into that, like, for those that don't know, this Shane Meadows story about him discovering you in the Shalom, and then John thinking that he was a drug dealer, is that right?
Well, yeah, John
Tell us about that.
John, genuinely, we was at the Shell the other day, and we was doing an interview for the ITV, and John told the camera a story, and I was genuinely sat next to him crying, because I never knew this. He said that they'd come along and they was looking for a young kid who never acted before, and it was Des Hamilton who actually come in. Shane Meadows hasn't had hair for years. It was Des Hamilton that came in, and he asked John if he's got any kids that that have got characteristics or he think might be good for this film, and John was like, well, what about Tomo? And then so then they got, I think it might have John said, oh, would you do an audition for this film? And I was like, no, I'm not really that bothered. So I never, because
that doesn't sound like you, mate.
But when you're a kid and you're in these situations and you're brought up, it don't come to kids that look like us and sound like us. So I was like, well, they're never going to pick me for this film. So I said to Des, I admired that. I got my fiver for the audition, which is you can actually watch it on YouTube. Most people probably watched it. And then he rang my mum saying, well, Tomo, do another audition. And my mum shouted at me, Tomo, come, these guys want to meet you again. And I was like, yeah, well, I want a tenner this time. So I came along, and that's when I actually met Shane and Joe Hartley, who played my mum. So Shane had brought Joe down to do like a chat on camera, really. And then I got my tenner, and then it had got a bit out of hand, really. There was mobile phones and PlayStation games and anything that I wanted, because I thought, I'm onto a winner here, I'm just buying what I want. But because I thought, well, they're never going to choose me, so I might as well just get whatever I can, and then never see him again. And then Shane said that they want me to do the film, and I was like, and even then I didn't even really know what it meant. I was like, how much am I getting paid? Right, Sam, yeah, that's good for me. And then,
But I think that intensity presumably came across on the screen, and what were you, 12, 13 at the time?
I was 13 when we shot the film, summer 2005, and then 14 when it came out, yeah.
It just, honestly, man, that literally blows my mind. And so when you did it, were you just playing yourself? This is the thing that's always got me. Did Shane Meadows just say, just go and be yourself? Or how much was it directed?
Well, we got a lot of time to work on the characters. There's a lot of improvisation. The whole film was improvised, so there was never any script. So I didn't have to stay up at night learning my lines or anything like that. Yeah, so it was all improvised. So I think, I've got Andy Ellis is in here who played Gadget. He's over there somewhere.
Gadget! Gadget's in the house!
It was about 3 weeks worth of rehearsals you had on it, and about 3 weeks, just a nod. It was about 3 weeks worth of rehearsals, but in that 3 weeks we learned everything about each other on a personal level. So when it comes to the cameras being turned on, we know. But I was only 13 at this point and still thinking about how much money I'm going to get paid. I didn't care. Like Shane just said to me, it's just a bit like a exaggerated version of myself, but the way that Shane works is he makes you feel so comfortable, and it's you almost forget that you're set, you forget that you're making hello? You forget that you get, you're still good? Are we still good? Yeah. You forget that you're making a film, you forget where you are, and you just sort of you just, without sounding too wanky, you really get immersed in it.
Because that was one of the questions I was going to ask you tonight. How is a bunch of kids, basically, straight off, working class estates, how are they going straight into these monumental films? You've just answered that question.
Well, it wasn't a monumental film. It was a real low-budget film. No one knew what it was going to do. It was just... Well, it wasn't even called This Is England. It was called Bulldogs. Originally.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What a shit name that would have been. Shit. Oh, God, I was so pleased it wasn't called that.
There was a couple of names, Andy, wasn't there? There was... Yeah, I think it was just... Yeah. Pardon? Yeah, there was a few names lobbed about, but I think they originally settled on This Is England, but yeah.
Wow. And honestly, that was one of my questions. How do you get a group of young lads together, and how can they project themselves so honestly and sincerely? There's loads of moments through This Is England 1, the film, and when I seen you cry for the first time, now knowing you I do, how do you cry for the first time? How do you do that? How do you put yourself in that moment? Was there something about your life where it was just easy to do because you'd already been through that previously?
Shane, again, he creates, like the scene I think you're talking about is when Milky is getting beat up by Combo. So what happened on that day, and as you can imagine, I was a bundle of energy on set all the time. Like they had to limit all my sugars because I was just like, all the time. Shane actually said to me, he said, you need to concentrate today. I need you on the ball. And he said, because on the other side of that door, he said, Stephen Graham is actually beating Shimmy up. And he made me believe, and I remember the noise like it was yesterday. So Stephen had a wooden stick, and he was whipping it against the sofa, and the noise that made. But Shane told me, this is taking it up from my accent, isn't it? Shane told me that he was actually hitting Shimmy. So I'm like, and I'm worried about Shimmy in that other room. I'm thinking he's actually getting his head kicked in. And then in the film, when I walk in the door and I see Shim with all that blood, and yeah, it was just, I genuinely thought like,
So it's real.
yeah, I thought my mate had been beat up, and then like from then on, like I remember feeling this rage against Stephen. I was like, you fucker. Like genuinely, and then he comes up to me and he grabs me, and it's like, and the thing is about working with Stephen, is like you never know what he's going to do. Like, and he still does that now. There's a story of him and Pacino that he's done it to him. Like, but he's so unpredictable, Stephen. He's like, you might be talking like this, but you don't know if he's going to strangle you. And like when you see people having fights in films on telly, like Stephen Graham's fighting, like he's real. So yeah, so it was all just like Shane creates this magic on the set where you're in it. That's happening. That's the way it is. So yeah.
Wow, that's some decent insight, you know, I think, because I've always thought about that, and I think that scene that you're talking about it's shocking, and that's one of the most, you know, shocking scenes in UK cinematic history. If we fast forward a little bit, for me personally, when This Is England became that series on Channel 4, and that bit where Stephen Graham's character, he's finally made peace with himself, and he's starting to teach the kids how to play football and all the rest of it. And then we see that moment. And that's classic Shane Meadows, isn't it?
Well, it just, yeah, it makes you don't really know what's...
Oh, man.
You never know what to expect with it, do you?
Can I just ask, with that, so I know Stephen Graham really loves you and respects you. I know Shane Meadows does. You were this super kid star that burst out on the scene and doing really well for yourself. And obviously we've got this story about that they wanted to potentially adopt you around this very harsh time for your life. Famously, This Is England was dedicated in your mother's honour.
Yeah, well, just quickly on that, like, so This Is England was dedicated to my mum, but we never knew this, did we, Dad? We'd not seen the film, but we didn't really know much about it, did you, Dad? It was like he was in this film and it was about skinheads and that's really it. Yeah. And then Shane invited me and my dad over to Rome, and we was on this red carpet, and we was in limousines, and it was all like, it was special. And then we watched the film, and then I remember trying my 14-year-old head trying to get around the fact that there was probably 1,000 Italian people in this beautiful cinema all standing and clapping. And at the end of the film, Shane never told me, but it just said at the end, in love and memory of Sharon Turgoose. So like, I never knew that. But that's I was saying this in an interview the other day, that those are the sorts of things that like, that's there forever. So gestures like that Shane does is like, but yeah, so I never actually knew that it was going to be dedicated to my mum until we saw it in Rome, so.
Wow, yeah. Check that out. What a man. So based on that knowledge, like, and this is something I've always wanted to ask you, and I've never asked it to you directly, but like, that first film did so well, and like, so many people resonated with it. Did you ever think like, I'm 13, 14 years old, what am I going to do next? And what's happened after that?
Well, I remember as soon as the film came out, before the film came out, and I went back to living on Guildford Street, and they bought me, can you remember Kayla and John, that mini moto that they bought me? So they bought me like a little mini moto, like a little like a mopedy little mini thing that went about 30 miles an hour. So I remember getting back to Grimsby with a bit of cash in the bank. I was buying all my mates Chinese food. It's like, yeah, it's all on me, lads. It was on this little mini motor ripping it around the streets. And then I remember when the Grimsby Telegraph had done the first ever story. I remember it was on the front page. And
Which I'm trying to help you with, by the way.
So I remember that someone said, "Oh, you're on the fucking front page of the Telegraph." I was like, "What?" So I sprinted around to the shop on Oxford Street. I think it's Oxford Street or Victor Street. That I went in there the other day with Charlotte actually, and it was weird to be back in that shop because I remember just like seeing my face on the front of the Telegraph. I was like, "Fucking pussy!" Like, yeah. So I didn't really know. Yeah. So from then on, it was just like.
Fucking hell!
Yeah, good bollocks on him apparently. Yeah, so it like my life just completely changed. But I think that come at a good time. Obviously, having lost my mum not long before the film was released, that was the best distraction in the world because. Like losing a parent at any age is never easy, obviously. But as a 13-year-old, like I was distracted because I was in Rome one week, then I was in Germany the next, Italy, Germany, then Spain, and I don't know, it was all over. And then like there was people coming up to me in the streets, and there was girls, and there was like I had a bit of money, not loads of money. I could spend the money straight away. It didn't last long.
That's not what he told me, by the way.
But yeah, like life was exciting, and then I was just like busy working, and then obviously I moved in with my dad, and my life was just completely different in a sense that like the first thing my dad did for me when I moved in with him was instilled a routine in my life.
You mentioned that a few times.
Yeah, because I never had a routine when I lived with my mum. It was very much like I had a bedroom, but I never stayed in it. I was on the sofa. I'd be watching films, playing computer games till 5 in the morning. Then I'd sleep on the sofa till like midday, and there was no routine. And then as soon as I moved in with my dad, he was like, "You're going to school, you brush your teeth, you get showers." He instilled everything. He just sort of made sure everything. I can see all my mates going, "Now you still don't brush your fucking teeth." But yeah, no, he instilled that sort of routine in me, which was really important. So yeah, it just sort of my life just completely changed, like not only professionally but like on a personal level as well. So
was there ever a moment though, and I'm trying to get wrap my head around this scenario where, so for example, you told me to watch a film last night which I hadn't seen.
Actually, I want to make a good go at this, like because we've done little bits and bobs like a little TV series and whatnot, but that was the first, like, other than like Eden Lake, but I guess that was just
It's that you work with, and why, and who do you think should deserve some notoriety, and why?
well, I think there's like personally, like I like all of the cast of This Is England have gone on and done their own thing. Some don't act anymore, some didn't fancy it, but like Andy Ellis again, he's working. There's myself. There's like obviously Stephen Graham and Vicky have gone on and done their own things. So I think everyone's gone on and sort of made a career in their own right. But I do also think there's like an element of like, and I know there's some. I'm probably ruining your questions here, but like an element of being typecast. There's an amazing element of being in This Is England, but also when you go into a casting room, it's hard to shake that Shaun from This Is England or Gadget from This Is England. So, but yeah, I mean everyone's gone on and done their own things in their own rights. But do you know what is really, really exciting? And I know this is a question further on, but whenever I work with young kids now who are at the age that I was when I started, that's really refreshing. And it's like,
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's really refreshing to hear that there's kids that are starting at the same age as I did, and now they're building their careers. So I always find that really exciting. But
Fantastic.
yeah,
And you know, on one actor before we take the break, Jack O'Connell,
yeah.
like he was one of those guys in. Sorry, Lisa, do you want my attention?
We're getting told off.
Lisa's going to come on and have the song.
Get us a pint, Sal. Give us a black. Cheers, pal.
Pint of Guinness down here if you wouldn't mind.
Cheers, mate.
But Jack O'Connell, he was one of those in This Is England, well, the first film, where he's got this weird ability that looks so intense. But
he's really intense anyway.
But he was kind of overlooked in that first film, and obviously he's went on to do bigger and better things.
Yeah, well, Jack O'Connell was like he he was great in This Is England, and he's gone on to have a really good career.
Sorry, Lisa, with anyway.
Yeah, I'll do it quickly, I'm sorry. Yeah, he's gone on to have a really good career, but Jack's always been very intense. But again, like, Jack is really good at being himself, so he's really good at playing a version of himself, and he can be quite intimidating. So I think, but that's a talent in itself, to be able to play a version of yourself comfortably in front of a camera. So yeah.
Were you ever worried about that, being typecast?
No, not really. I don't know. I'll tell you in a couple of years.
After a couple of pints,
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes round one. Mr. Thomas Turgoose.
Now everyone can go outside because it's fucking hot. I watched it. And then he rang my mum saying, well, Tomo, do another audition. And so my mum shouted at me, Tomo, come, these guys want to meet you again. And I was like, yeah, well, I want a tenner this time. So I came along, and that's when I actually met Shane and Joe Hartley, who played my mum. So Shane had brought Joe down to do like just a chat on camera, really. And then I got my tenner, and then it had got a bit out of hand, really. There was mobile phones and PlayStation games and anything that I wanted, because I thought, I'm onto a winner here, I'll just buy whatever I want. But because I thought, well, they're never going to choose me, so I might as well just get whatever I can, and then never see him again. And then then Shane said that they want me to do the film, and I was like, and even then I didn't even really know what it meant. I was like, how much am I getting paid? Right, sound, yeah, that's good for me. And then,
But I think that intensity presumably came across on the screen. And like, what were you, like 12, 13?
From the Turgoose representing.
Oh, it's a video.
Oh, it's a video.
Yeah,
It's a video, plus you can
Straight from Instagram, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. You're really good at talking to the camera, I'm not. You know what you do.
I'm a film star, what do you want?
He does these mini videos around Hull, don't you? Like crime